I'm Larissa Harrington, and if you are a high performer on a mission to make a meaningful impact in the world and you want to do it sustainably, keep watching. Today, I want to talk about some common signs that you might be headed towards burnout and then share some strategies of things that we can do to avoid it. So I'm going to share some slides today. As we are thinking about this, why does it matter to me? Because I've been doing this work for over 20 years, and time again, I have seen people who have beautiful hearts, who are doing this beautiful work in the world, who care about making a positive impact, and they end up burning out. They end up burning out because they didn't know the strategies. They weren't practicing the strategies of the things that they can do for themselves while they are also doing this great work in the world. And so my mission is all about helping people learn the both and how we can continue making a positive impact in the world and also take care of ourselves along the way. So as we dive right in here, these common signs of unmanaged stress. Why are we talking about stress? Well, what is burnout? It's this chronic exhaustion, right? That leads to this mental, physical, spiritual, emotional exhaustion, the stress that we have that we often overlook. So I want to talk about these signs of unmanaged stress. It might show up as exhaustion, not just like, oh, I had a hard day and I'm exhausted at the end of the day, but this chronic exhaustion where every day, even when we get enough sleep, it never feels like enough, where we're just consistently exhausted, or where we're experiencing frequent illness or headaches. Again, not just the annual, I caught a cold, but to where we notice that, oh, I caught a cold, I have a sinus infection, I have a GI infection, these things that just seem to keep coming up. And as I'm talking about these common signs, this is about recognizing the signs and how they are going together, not just saying, oh my goodness, I have experienced this one thing and then worrying about being burnt out, but looking at the signs together and then being honest with ourselves as we are looking at it, thinking about it, reflecting about it to say, oh, is this me? Right? Negativity, negative self-talk. What is the voice that we're talking to ourselves with? Right? Are we being kind? Do we notice that we're consistently negative or that we are feeling depressed on a consistent basis, that we don't have the same motivation that we once had, right? This thing that used to be super important to us that we were passionate about, and then we no longer have the motivation to continue doing it. Or having poor emotional regulation. When we think about emotional regulation, it's not saying that we never have uncomfortable emotions or that we are, if we get angry or we're sad, then it's somehow a bad thing and that we're headed to burnout. This is about the poor emotional regulation in which we maybe are feeling angry or feeling sad, but how are we responding to the feelings, the emotions that we're having? So are we angry and then we notice that we're constantly lashing out, punching a wall, saying hurtful things to someone and doing things that we regret? Or are we able to notice our emotions and make sure that we're continuing to act in ways that are aligned for us, right? GI problems, having difficulty falling asleep or staying asleep, that we're feeling muscle tension and pain and we don't maybe know where it came from. It's one thing to go to the gym and say, oh, I had a hard workout and I'm feeling my leg workout versus every day where we're just feeling that tension or pain throughout our body. Having changes in appetite, right? This might show up as we used to eat 3 meals a day or however our pattern was before, and then all of a sudden we don't have any appetite. We're not eating at all. We're living off of caffeine or snacks, or we start binging, eating way more than we used to. Inability to focus, that we notice we get distracted easily. We're not able to be as efficient as we once were. That we're isolating, right? Not this idea of like, I'm choosing to spend time alone right now, but I'm also still open to going out into the world and having fun. But when we're just isolating, where we don't want to be around anyone for extended periods of time, where we're having more consistent anxiety, or we're noticing that we're showing up with more irritability during situations that maybe previously didn't seem to irritate us so much. And so as we're thinking about these common signs of unmanaged stress, check in with yourself and notice, Are any of these resonating with you? Do you notice that you have experienced them or that you are experiencing them now? And if so, no judgment. It's an opportunity to practice self awareness because we can't change what we're not aware of. So when we notice, like, oh, you know what? I have been feeling exhausted every single day and I'm not as motivated as I once was, or I haven't been able to sleep well in months. Pay attention to those things. Get support if you know that you're not able to manage the things on your own. Know that it is okay to ask for help and get support because these things are, yes, common things that many people deal with, but we don't have to normalize the fact that we're just in this place existing all of the time, right? So, yes, they can be common without saying, oh, I'm just going to continue doing this because everybody I know is feeling this way, or I've been dealing with this for so long. It's just the way that it has to be. Give yourself permission to get support or to take the action steps that you need so that you don't have to constantly feel this way. And when we think about stress, what are some common causes of stress? Well, excessive work stress. Okay, that's one of them, or excessive family stress. Stress in itself is not bad, right? It is okay for us to experience stressful situations. The goal is that we are able to manage the stress, that we're not holding on to the stress in our body, which can, contribute to lots of other medical things now. How many things will tell you, like, oh, stress is a contributing factor for heart disease and diabetes and all of these other things that we often forget about the connection with stress here. But so understanding that stress in itself isn't bad, but it's how we are responding to the stress. How do we deal with the stress? So other common causes, having multiple conflicting priorities. Yeah. How many people have multiple conflicting priorities? Right? If you're here, if you're on my channel, if you're listening to this, it is because you care about making a positive impact in the world, and you probably have a lot of conflicting priorities, right? That you have high expectations from yourself or others, that you are dealing with perfectionism, meaning that no matter what you do, you want it to be perfect, which can sometimes show up as procrastination too. We don't even start doing something because we're worried about making it perfect, or that we're experiencing difficult personal relationships, or that we have a lack of control and something that's causing us stress because we can't be in control. We have a fear of failure, right? Kind of the same with the perfectionism. It feels stressful because we don't want to fail. And so we have these high expectations for ourselves, for others, creates more stress for us. This insufficient, poor quality sleep, right? Our brain and body is not able to function in the way that it needs if we're constantly sleep deprived. And we have poor boundaries, right? We say yes to too many people. We're not saying no to the things that aren't aligned for us. We worry about upsetting someone else or how other people are going to perceive us if we don't say yes to things, right? Having those poor boundaries, having a lack of support sometimes shows up as we have support around us, but we're not asking for the support because we're trying to do everything on our own. Or these unmanaged expectations that we have, or work-life imbalance. Yeah. So when we're thinking about stress and this chronic stress and things that cause stress, I want to also talk about these strategies to practice mindfulness at work and at home. And why I'm bringing in mindfulness is because these are practices that we can do in short periods of time, and they can positively impact every area of our life. So mindfulness, meaning that we are paying attention on purpose with curiosity and non-judgment, which I hope you're doing right now, right? Paying attention on purpose with curiosity and non-judgment as we're doing these, going over these things and being self-reflective. How can we show up with that curiosity and non-judgment? So what are some things that we can do? Take 5 minutes at the beginning of each day, right? To think about our daily tasks and mentally prepare, right? And taking that time in the beginning can help us prioritize to say, you know what? These are the things that I'm going to say yes to. These are the things that I need to say no to. We can do things like turn off our email and messaging notifications on our phone or computer, right? To help us stay focused and again, be more efficient when we're not feeling like we're constantly pulled in all of these different directions. We can be more efficient, more effective, get more done in less time. We can do something like take 5 deep breaths before each meeting, right? Can help us prepare for the meeting, help us transition from one thing to the next. Practice delegating and saying no when a task doesn't align with your priorities or your current capacity. We can schedule midday check ins to just check in how we feel, what our body needs. Could be something that we put on our calendar. We know, hey, this time of my lunch break every day, I'm just going to check in with myself. We can take 3 minutes at the end of each workday to acknowledge our wins or successes. We can spend 3 minutes just like, stretching at our desk, doing something for ourselves in between meetings or maybe even during a meeting, right? It can take a 10-minute walk outside and practice awareness of the senses. We can choose a different restroom than usual and walk a little bit farther, giving ourselves an opportunity to slow down and be present. Right at home, we can take the first 5 minutes when we wake up to do some deep breathing and stretch in our bed. We can mindfully make our bed. We can create a morning routine with things like breath work and tea or reading or journaling to help ease into your day. We can practice mindfully brushing our teeth using our non dominant hand. We can write out 5 specific things that you're grateful for. We can enjoy some screen free time with our loved ones. We can use daily chores as an opportunity to practice presence and gratitude. We can mindfully listen to a song, right? Notice our thoughts and feelings and sensations. We can create an evening routine with things like gentle stretching or breath work. I'm sharing lots of different ideas of things that we can easily integrate into our day. And I chose things that don't have to take a lot of time to do in order to have a positive impact. So, my invitation for you is just to A, recognize if you might be headed towards burnout, and then B, recognize that you have the power to make little changes in your day that can positively impact you, that can positively impact your health, that can impact your impact, right? Like how you're showing up in the world, the things that you're doing. Because very often we have this idea that other things are more important, other people are more important, or I don't have time to, take a 5 minute walk or do some deep breathing. We tell ourselves we don't have time without recognizing how having time for ourselves, making time for ourselves actually allows us to get more done, to be more impactful. So, this is my invitation for you. Make time for yourself for the little things. I'm going to stop sharing my screen here, right? As we get ready to wrap this up, make time for yourself, focusing on the little things that you can do, because along the way, it's the little things that can add up to get us to that place of burnout, right? The little things can also add up when we're thinking about the small things we can do to positively impact our overall health and well being. Okay. Thanks for being here. Drop a comment if this was helpful for you at all, and maybe share one thing that you're going to do for yourself to help positively impact your mental, physical, spiritual, emotional health and well being so that you can continue doing amazing work out in the world. Thanks for being here. Have an amazing day. Bye.